Frenkie de Jong has agreed and is open and feels the move to Manchester United is appealing. As his exit from Barcelona draws ever closer, for the past week or so, the Dutch international has become ever more closer and nearer to leaving the Camp Nou. Manchester United are still the front runners. Manchester United are in deep negotiations with Barcelona to get this deal done. Barcelona have accepted the fact that the transfer is going to happen. They've accepted the transfer. They know this is going to happen. They want the transfer to happen, especially for economical reasons. United have worked hard on convincing Frenkie de Jong to agree to the move. That appears to be done now. Agreeing the fee and the finer details appears to be the final step in this transfer. We're going to delve into it this morning, and we're talking about Scamacca. His links to Arsenal have just intensified massively. We're going to go through both of those with you live on the Football Terrace this morning, and we're going to take your calls. Smash the like button, subscribe to the Football Terrace. Let's do this. Good morning. Welcome back to the Football Terrace, my people. Big news this morning. Let's put this up on the screen for you. Frenkie de Jong has given private indications that a move to Manchester United appeals. Pausing the move, however, of course, is the fee set around 80 million euros. Negotiations are underway. United are resistant to straight away paying what Barcelona demand in terms of the outright fee being made up front. Manchester United want to hold back on that. That is coming directly from Laurie Whitwell, one of the most credible sources when it comes to Manchester United. And it's long since been my thought that this was going to end up being the direction of the transfer if it became plausible, if it became possible. I always felt that Manchester United were negotiating with Barcelona because they felt that there was a chance and an opportunity to get a deal done, to get the deal over the line. Now, interestingly, what we saw yesterday was a variety of reports saying Man United offer for Frenkie is close to the demands of Barca. Barca are seriously considering the offer. We saw Gerard Romero claimed that one of Frenkie de Jong's agents wrote to me that the process of Frenkie de Jong to Manchester United has been activated. And of course, Manchester United have made an offer of 60 plus 20 of add-ons for the player. And the reason I go back to these is because some of these outlets and these journalists yesterday were being ridiculed and laughed at for these claims. The British press is now following suit. Manchester United are trying to get an agreeable deal done. So they're happy to pay 80 million euros, but they want to break it down from some of it lump sum, some of it made in terms of performance-related add-ons. Very similar to what Liverpool Football Club are doing with the Darwin Núñez deal. But the most positive thing for Manchester United fans is the fact that Frenkie de Jong has been for about a week closer than ever to leaving Barca. He is now resigned to that fact. He now knows Barcelona want to move on for one reason or another. He has to then look at his career. He needs to then look at the future. And that is what he is doing. Man United are the front runners. Man United have done all the hard work. Man United have done all the courting. And he is open to the idea. He accepts his move to Manchester United should the deal get done. Now, that doesn't mean that if PSG or Man City or Bayern Munich sweep in and offer a better package, and of course they're in a better position as a club, he may not go elsewhere. But he is in an agreeing mood towards a Manchester United move. And for me, this feels like United are at a very close stage of being able to get this done. Barca agree to the fee. It does appear that personal terms will be no issue for Frenkie de Jong. It's just about getting it over the line, in my opinion, before anybody else swoops in. From my point of view, this is a very exciting signing. It's the type of player that Manchester United need. And one of the biggest factors that's being fed into Frenkie de Jong, now this kind of gets with the bullet point journalism that goes on now, this has kind of gone under the radar a little bit. But Frenkie de Jong is being promised by Erik ten Hag that the team, you will be the heartbeat of the team. You'll be the focal point of the team. And it was interesting because Rafael van der Vaart spoke about this exact situation. Rafael van der Vaart has come out and essentially said he could play at Man United like he does at the Netherlands. That would get the best out of him. If I was him, I would move to Manchester United. And that may not necessarily be because Man United are in a better position than Barcelona right now in the grand scheme of things. Everyone's going to have an opinion on that. It's about the individual player playing his favored role, being the heartbeat of a team and being able to showcase all these skills at the same time. That's what Man United are pulling on. There's a number of Dutch journalists and ex-pros that agree with that. The player is open to the move and accepting of his transfer to Manchester United. Barca and Man United are in deep negotiations and close to coming to an agreement and a deal. This is big. This could happen. This really could happen now. Just over a week ago, after speaking to Ben Jacobs, I went, you know what? I'm going to just drop it. I'm going to keep this 10% hope in my mind. Let's see what happens. The progression in the last 24 hours has been huge. Now, this doesn't mean the deal will be closed out. It doesn't mean the deal will 100% happen. But I want to shout out again my guy Ty from the Trafford Tunnel and Never a Foul, who was the first journalist, and he is a young up-and-coming journalist, this man. He was the first guy that came out yesterday, and I quote tweeted him yesterday again before I went home because I had to, who essentially said it was, there was positives, there was great movement, and he actually tweeted me last night, actually, after I praised him again. He says, fingers crossed, even better in the next week. So Man United are hopeful that of getting this deal closed off in the next week or so. Let's take a look at some of your comments here. You need some players around De Jong to pass the... listen, of course, listen, Man United fans are not stupid. We know we need more than Frenkie de Jong. We know that. I don't think there's very many Man United fans that think sign Frenkie de Jong and we're back. But he's part of the jigsaw needed. And listen, let me take a sip of my drink. I'm also very, very aware, I am, and I'm sure most Man United fans are, that again, we're not actually going to fix every problem this summer and this season. It's going to take time. I want to see improvement straight away. I want to see a better team, more competitive, more points, football looking better. But to get to where we want to be, it's going to take time. So it's just about relaxing, really. Terry, I saw that he is going to be offered around £395,000 per week, the highest earner at Man United. Yeah, this isn't true. This is something that I spoke to a few journalists about. He will be paid in and around what he is on now. So again, Frenkie de Jong is not going to leave and join any club for a huge pay decrease. That isn't going to happen. When you look at his salary, he's currently earning, he's on a lot of money. He's on about £164,000 a week currently at Barcelona. Manchester United will be offering somewhere in the region of £200,000 a week. How you'll see it reported will be 250, 300, because that will include all of the bonuses that he may be able to earn. Man United in the last couple of years, when giving out contracts, they've made them far more reliant on performance bonuses, win bonuses, and the vast majority of those bonuses are done through loyalty or where you finish within the league. The loyalty bonuses, though, are being phased out. As an example, Paul Pogba this season, for a loyalty bonus, because he played a certain amount of games and he didn't hand in a transfer request, was paid £3.8 million. Man United have stopped doing that. The bonuses have to be related to performance. So he'll be paid probably a base fee of around £200,000 a week. And the reason why that's acceptable is, one, you've got to convince him to come. And secondly, you can't tell a player that you're going to be the heartbeat, the most important player in the team for the system, under this new regime that's going to get Man United back to the top, and then not pay them accordingly as one of the star players. It doesn't make sense. So the money that we're offering him commercially makes sense, and footballing sense, absolutely bang on. Does De Jong really want to leave Barca, or is he being pushed because of the financial situation? Matt, it's a really good question, and I think there's an element of both that are within this. But at the same time, it's a case of that's the way football works. That's how things are. Sometimes players are happy where they are and they've got to be moved on. It's about how professional he's going to be. The only time this becomes an issue is if the player, it's not about the player not wanting to leave the club he's currently at. It's where he doesn't want to go. So if he was like, I just don't want to be in England. I don't want to be in England. I don't want to live in Manchester. I hate the color red. Me and the Ten Hag don't get on. But then he accepts it because of a big money offer. That's a problem. That's Angel Di Maria 2.0. That's Alexis Sanchez, the return. He has no issue with joining Man United. He wants to play football. He wants to be. And do you know what's also coming out of Barca? Is the financial thing is being used as a big excuse. But there's been 2 or 3 reports that have kind of gone under the radar a little bit, if I'm being honest. And I might still have the graphics for these on my system. No, I don't. I don't have them anymore. They've been taken out. But the board aren't also happy with how he'd been playing football. And there is a big push. Now, it might not happen because Gavi hasn't signed his new deal, but they want Gavi, Pedri, and Kesse to be their main midfield 3 moving forward. So I think there's good hope there for Manchester United. But great question there, Matt, my old mate. Really, really good. James here says we saved 52 million on wages this year from last year. De Jong is on a lot at Barca. We need to compensate him for joining us. Remember, Pogba was, yeah, you're right. Pogba was offered 400k a week. £400,000 a week, Paul Pogba was offered. De Jong's going to be on a base about half of that. So it is a lot of money, but you've got to remember Man United actually spend less of their turnover on salaries than Arsenal, than Chelsea, than Liverpool, than Man City. We spend about 60 odd percent. No, I think it's at 57%. It's not a drop in the ocean to us, but it's more than affordable. Man like Sharik here says, deal finally signed between Arsenal and Sao Paulo for Marquinhos. Everything completed. Oh, there we go. That's done. I don't know anything about this kid, so I'm not going to pass judgment. Young, talented Brazilian I've read and heard. We'll see how that goes. Viewers, I want you to do me a favor then and smack that like button. And not enough of you have done it so far on this show. Give it a whack. Give the Football Terrace a subscribe for us today as well. We're going to open up the lines for you to come on and have your say on this Friday morning call-in show. Whether you're watching on Facebook, whether you're watching on Twitch, we're going to share the link now so you can come in and have your say. By the way, Facebook are so far ahead of YouTube on likes. Right on Facebook, 297 likes. A big thank you to everyone on Facebook. Can YouTube catch up? That's the question. Wes Rowe here with a great comment who says, Rome wasn't built in a day. I will be patient. And I do think that's key. Rome wasn't built in a day. It's going to take time. You have to maintain pressure. And this is something I've kind of dug out a few gooners for as of late, that there hasn't been enough pressure. It's been easy street in some regards. There needs to be pressure for things to improve, but patience. To think that snap it, we're going to be back to our best overnight is crazy. There's a lot more that Manchester United need to do. Ruben Neves is still a deal that the club is working on. We need to add to that midfield. We can't just sign Frenkie de Jong. We need another person, most likely in attack. Anthony's being spoken about. There's loose links still to Nkunku. We're going to move on to Scamacca in a minute as well, because I've seen a lot of because this could be an interesting one for a lot of people. It's positive news for Arsenal because Scamacca reportedly is open to a move to the Premier League. So far, only Arsenal have made inquiries into him. So it gives you an idea that maybe, just maybe, he wants Arsenal as an example. There was a lot of talk from Gooners around would he actually leave Italy? Well, this is sort of sparked a few Man United fans this morning and said, well, we need a striker. If he's a good striker, up and coming, and he wants to come to the Prem, maybe we should look at him. I'm still never 100% convinced about Italians leaving the league and leaving Serie A. But it certainly feels now, the Athletic are reporting on it, that more and more of the British outlets are starting to believe that this deal could get done. The question I have for Gooners about this transfer is, though, do you see Scamacca and Gabriel Jesus coming in, or do you think Arsenal are starting to work on Scamacca because they feel that a Chelsea, a Real Madrid, or some other suitor may come in and swoop for Gabriel? Now that they've got, Arsenal have done the hard work here. They've got the price down to about £42 million. We tweeted out yesterday, and it's true, Chelsea are interested. The deal for Gabriel Jesus to Chelsea is on. It's an active deal. Very early stages. Arsenal are still the front runners. But could this be why Arsenal are pursuing this deal? I want your thoughts and feelings. We're going to take your call. We've got Adrian. We've got man like Abdul to come on the show as well. Grimes here has tweeted that Arsenal have submitted a £50 million offer for Jesus. 50 million euros, I'm going to assume, because I think the price is around 42 million. And I think 50 million euros is about 42 million pounds. So we will see. Sagari, De Jong, Spence, Timber, and Anthony would be a good transfer window. Listen, I mean, it would. I mean, I don't know much. I've seen a lot of people raving about. I think it's pronounced Sagaria. What's interesting about him is he's one of those players I've not seen anybody talk about, tweet about, do a scouting report on, do a YouTube video on, phone in and talk about. And suddenly now everyone's telling me he is the next guy. I remain open-minded about players like that. You know my view. I'm not an Well, you know what I am. I'm not an encyclopedia on football. Nobody is. Anyone who claims to be is a liar. They're liars. They don't watch that much football. They can't. Not if they have a life. It's actually impossible. But we'll see how good he is. I mean, there's some decent players in that suggestion there. Scamacca, a James Bond villain. I know. Ross here says, I want Scamacca as United's number 9. He can be the next Berber stroke Zlatan. Is it? Again, I'd never heard of this guy until Arsenal got linked with him last week. Never heard of the guy. And I don't think, and again, I'm on socials a lot. And I didn't see anyone talking about him. I see one guy, I'm not going to expose people. This guy started tweeting like he knows who he is. So I literally did a year-long, an 18-month advanced search. This guy's name, this Twitter tag, and this player's name. Man ain't tweeted about him once. That's going to be the problem, though, if Twitter add edit buttons. People are going to go back and edit old tweets and add players' names in that they're now linked with to try and show you that they're what they've actually got to do. If they do an edit button, they've got to show you when it was edited. They've got to put a timestamp because people will take the piss, bro. Trust me, I know what these men on Twitter are like. I've been around it too long. Especially the charlatans. Terry, would you do a show breaking down the financial troubles of Barca? Maybe. Do you know, it's something that I just haven't spent. I've read stuff. I haven't spent any time really deep diving into exactly what is going on. I'm really doing aggregating the news. I've had challenge from a few people. Oh, it's not as bad as you're making out. I'm not making anything out. I'm just passing on the news. But maybe if I have the time to do it, that could be an interesting piece of content to make. Good shout there, Guna. Jake, there we go. Someone here says sauce. It depends on what I'm eating, my guy. So if I'm having a sausage or a bacon sandwich, it has to be brown. If I'm eating a burger, generally it's like burger sauce, maybe ketchup's too basic. I don't really have ketchup with very many things at all. Fish and chips, I actually like mayonnaise on my fish and chips. It really depends on what I'm eating, my guy. Barbecue, I like a little bit of, again, I like barbecue sauce. A bit of hot sauce is good in the barbecue. It was very, very good. So as I say, it really depends on the food you're eating. Like if you're eating, a bit of lamb, you've got the mint sauce, bruv. Beef on a Sunday roast, you get that horseradish out. There's cranberry sauce. There is no one favorite sauce. It's all about the food that you're eating, my guy. That's what it's all about today. Most people only know about players because of FIFA. Listen, Pav, you're bang on, my guy. And this is it. I knew about a lot of players when I was an avid championship manager, football manager player. I knew, it's funny. I used to play Football Manager and I bought a player on it back in 2006. I was playing it and I bought a player called Christian Wilhelmsson. And I remember it because I thought he was a really good player on the game. I think he was a Swedish guy. And then during the World Cup of 2006, Man United were linked with him. And I was buzzing, telling my dad how great a player he was. And then it dawned on me. I was a young man then. I was like 20, 21. I'm like, I've never seen him play. It's just he's good in the computer game. So I know that's how a lot of these young men think. Plus YouTube comps as well. Mayo on chips. Yeah, I like mayo on chips. Yeah, if I'm eating fish and chips, then mayo definitely comes into it. Man like Sasko, my guy. Do you know, it's nice to see the match reaction people coming in and supporting the Terrace with the super chat on non-match reaction videos. Thank you, my guy. He says, I like the Jesus move. I'll prefer for my team to go for EPL proven, like how Liverpool did back in the day with their rebuild, scout the lower teams. Listen, I think Gabriel Jesus will be a good signing for. I know some Chelsea fans are really dead set against it, which I do understand, which I do completely kind of accept. I just think Gabriel's being ever so slightly underrated in many ways. I think he's really being underrated, no doubt. Gonna go by first caller of the day. We're gonna get on the show. Terry, have you seen the Declan Rice news? No, not yet. I'll take a little look later, my guy. Abdul's on the show with us today. How you doing, my friend? What you saying?
Yo, Terry, can you hear me?
Yes, my friend.
How you doing, Terry?
I'm very well. I'm very well.
You know, Terry, I get so annoyed by the amount of misinformation out there, Terry. Like, honestly, like some of these aggregator sites, bro, they piss me off, Terry. But I wanted to touch on the De Jong thing, Terry, quickly. You know, the 16th of June is going to be a key date for this the De Jong saga. I don't know if you can call it a saga because the transfer window really only opened today, so I don't know what people expect. It's not like it's been going on for years like the Sancho one. But in regards to the Frenkie de Jong thing, Terry, I think because a lot of people they don't really know how the fundamentals of Barcelona work as a football institution, I think they've missed out on this important fact that on the 16th of June, but because every time the Barcelona board they want to make a big financial decision, they must seek approval from the club members who own the club, the socios. So what's happening on the 16th of June is that I know a lot of people think Barcelona, they rejected the CVC deal, but they actually only rejected it because they want to make their own CVC deal. They want to sell TV rights on their own. They don't want to sell it through the league. So on the 16th of June, there is going to be a vote where members can vote on whether Barcelona will be allowed to sell 25% of their TV rights for the next 25 years for around 700 million, because I think the value per year, 25% of the TV rights is about 40 million. So 25 years, I believe they could get 700 million for that. And they want to sell licensing for their merchandise. So I think a lot of it depends on what happens on the 16th of June, Terry, because if that is approved and the board is allowed to sell these assets, because Terry, you know, this isn't actually anything new. Did you know that back in the year 2000, when Florentino Perez, he took over Real Madrid, one of the first things he did to solve their financial situation, because they had hundreds of millions of debt as well, what he did was he came in and he sold one of their training facilities for 400 million, and he sorted out the debt by doing so. So and that's how.
Let me just stop you. I understand that you've sent me a lot of. Is it you that's been DMing me? Because there's a different Abdul. Are you a Newcastle fan?
Yeah. No, like me.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm a Barca fan.
Okay, no, because there's an Abdul that has the same picture as you that's been DMing me that claims to be a Newcastle fan, and I just assumed it was you. It's literally your profile. Your profile picture is literally the guy that messages me. Like I'm not even capping you, my G. Like literally, it's your old profile picture of a guy. I don't know. It looks like the picture you got now. A guy in a top. But this guy called Abdul. DM'd me.
But what's the point? Like, what's it related to?
Because he literally in his DMs has said all the same things that you have just said.
So no, but Terry, like I researched.
Mate, that's not my point. I was checking if you're the same person. My point to you is, I understand that rejecting the CVC deal means they may do something else later on.
Exactly.
However, I don't think the financial element is being overplayed now in this De Jong deal.
I agree.
There's been multiple reports. This is what I've alluded to a lot. I think the financial element does play a part, but what keeps sort of slipping through the net is all these reports of the board not being happy with De Jong's performances. The board wanting, we had Ben Jacobs tell us the other day, what he's being informed is Barca have this desire of a Gavi, Pedri, Kesse midfield, which means, well, where does Frenkie de Jong start? There's almost this element of them saying, well, maybe we cash in on Frenkie de Jong now and just try something new. And that happens in football. He isn't from the academy. He isn't, I'm not saying he's disrespected in the Camp Nou, but he isn't looked at like a Messi or a Busquets or a Xavi or an Iniesta. So it's almost, we can cash in now. Another one of the reports that I read that's more important than the finances is that Barca are a little bit worried about keeping him for a year, not playing him as much, and then losing 20 million, 25 million euros on his valuation. So I still think the financial element, as you say, maybe it's being overplayed. You know, there are things that can rescue them later on down the line. I think it's more about Barcelona not wanting him anymore. That's giving
100%.
Man United, which is one of the reasons why I've always said, as soon as that news came through, that it was more about the player than the finances, there was always more chance of Frenkie de Jong changing his mind and wanting another club, because nobody wants to stay at a club where they're not wanted. It's not a nice feeling. It's, you know, especially if you're going to be phased out of the team. So it's an open one for me, and let's see what happens with the finances.
You know, Terry, I completely agree with you that I think like the whole financial situation is being overblown. I think it's more of a technical thing because, you know, during the season, Terry, I know because you focus on the top 6 show, but there has been a lot of instances where like every time De Jong he's been subbed off, for example, like it's sort of caused a mess. Like he's not went off in a proper manner. He's kind of shown off that he's pissed off because he's had a poor game. And Terry, I don't think is as rosy as many Barca fans make it out to seem, because honestly, it hasn't been that good of a time for him at Barcelona. And I think the board, they know this, and I think they are trying to cash in on him. But Terry, moving on from this thing like about De Jong, I just wanted to ask you a question in regards to Anthony. Do you think like Anthony, the transfer, it makes sense for United when you have Sancho, you have Rashford, you have Martial possibly? Don't you guys need more like of a backup striker than you need like a winger?
We do. I agree with you. We need something that's more central based. I suppose you've got to look at it again. The other way that I would look at this, though, and the way I would kind of view this as a fan, is one of the things Liverpool have done, which I've liked for a long time, would be, say you want a number 9 and you've got two main choices, as it were, 2 main choices for your number 9 position. And one goes to Liverpool and the other one is just not available this summer. I would rather go, right, okay, well, let's go get the inside forward that's on the to-do list and wait for a more adequate number 9 to come up in January or the following summer. Yeah, I don't think we should rush this in terms of, let's not settle for a 3rd, 4th, 5th choice who isn't quite good enough for what we want if we can't get our main targets. Liverpool, the precision that they had in terms of building this squad is perfect. And if we can get in our main couple of midfielders, a good inside forward, a really good centre back into this team, promote the right kind of youngsters, that will help us. There's also thought in Erik ten Hag's mind that he can get the very best back out of the Sanchos and the Marcus Rashfords. Yeah. And if he gets them, irrespective of what people think of even Rashford, if he can get Rashford back scoring 20 plus goals, that'll get United through a year. And I think what my view is this, and I have to tell myself this: we're not going into the season trying to win the Premier League. We're going in trying to improve and progress back into the Champions League.
So do you not think like a backup for Ronaldo? Like, do you think because of Ronaldo's age, like, do you not think? I understand the whole thing that if there is not a backup, a good a striker on the market, that you shouldn't rush it. But do you think you can find yourself in a situation next season where maybe, because we know that Ronaldo, he's been suffering from this hip flexor thing for consistently throughout the season. Do you think you might look back at the season and say, not getting a backup striker really was detrimental to this season because Ronaldo's literally been out all season, and we know that Rashford, he struggles to play in that number 9 position?
No, you're absolutely right. It should be a fear of Man United fans that we end up in a position where we don't have an adequate backup. We may get a backup, we may not have an adequate one. It depends on what we can do. And look, would I be surprised if we can't get a main target? We look at someone a little bit older, a little bit more of an elder state, someone that, you know. So there's been talk about Sebastian Haller. Now, an example with him is you could probably bring him in fairly cheaply. Now, someone like him could be someone like that as a deal. I mean, off the top of my head, I don't want it per se, but if that's all we could get, someone like him wouldn't be the end of the world, because he would also know that United are going to go out and buy a star striker next year if that individual's available.
Are you against Martial, by the way? Like, giving Martial another chance?
I'm not against anything. I'm open-minded about what Ten Hag wants to do. Ten Hag goes, right, Martial, we're going to give you another chance. If Martial and Rashford, and they're great examples, get back to within 80% of their very best, they could do very well for Man United next year because they're
I
both.
agree. I agree, Terry.
They really could. It's whether or not that Ten Hag can get that out of them. But what I don't want us to do is drop 70, 80 million pounds on an inadequate player. I'd rather a cheaper deal for a Sebastian Haller, and then you go big the following year than wasting money on the wrong people. And I look at Nkunku as an example. Now, he isn't an out-and-out number 9 himself. He's more of a secondary striker, number 10 type player. Well, there's talk of Sancho moving into that role. There's talk of giving Donny more playing time further advanced. We're trying to sign Christian Eriksen. There's Bruno Fernandes. If we're looking at buying all those players, I don't see where Nkunku fits in because it'll be in similar positions. So we need to be mindful of that. We'll see what we do, but we definitely need more. I'm really worried about strikers. We need more goal scorers in that attack. And
I completely agree.
And it's an area that they've really got to work on. Abdul, my friend, great call, buddy. And we'll speak again soon.
Yeah, take care, Terry. Take care.
Top man. Cheers. Thank you. Literally, it's the same Abdul. I'm going to send Abdul, if you're still watching, DM me or message me. I'll send you that account. The account literally uses your picture. That's why I thought it was you. Gary the Lion is on the show now. What are you saying, my friend?
Hi, Terry. How's it going?
I'm very well. Let everyone know who you support, my buddy.
Sorry?
Let everyone know who you support.
Oh, I'm a big Chelsea fan.
Lovely. What are you here to say, my friend?
No, I just quickly wanted to say that I think if Man United get themselves Frenkie de Jong and Ruben Neves, there will be a completely different beast next year.
In what regards?
You see, the thing is, like you just said now, in the end of the day, you guys need more attacking options or anything like that. And there are more ball-playing midfielders, so they can actually push the ball quite forward. I mean, for example, you don't want a person like Jorginho playing sideways and backwards the whole time. You actually want someone to be more progressive.
Yeah.
And then actually, I think that Jadon Sancho shouldn't play on a wing. He should actually be a second striker, just as you said now.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an intriguing one to see what we do. And the one exciting thing is that what Man United now have is they have a coach that most fans, most players, I think, will believe in. And, you know, this is the same fan base that Man United panicking right now on the 10th of June. And the same fan base that said this squad with a good quality coach would win the league. Get rid of Ollie, bring in a high-level coach, this squad wins the league. A lot of people said, give us a decent midfielder, a DM, and we'll win the league. Now, they talk about Frenkie de Jong. He's not a DM, but they talk about Frenkie de Jong being the central single pivot in a midfield 3, controlling the tempo of a game. That excites me. Man United didn't have a traditional DM. Kind of had Owen Hargreaves for a while, but he didn't play typical DM in all of his games. But for that 3-year period where Man United won 3 Premier Leagues back-to-back and the Champions League, Michael Carrick was our main, what you call DM. And he was more of the Frenkie de Jong model. He wasn't a blood, sweat, and thunder play. It wasn't a breaking up of the play. He read the game. He intercepted well. He controlled the tempo of the game. That's what Man United are looking to do. This is the same squad that everybody said with a player like that could dictate the play in the middle, Man United could win the league. Suddenly, we need 37 new players to even get into the top 4. I don't buy it. I don't buy it myself. Either people were massively wrong last year or they're overstating things now. Yes, we need 4 or 5 signings. We do. And we need to be able to make the top 4, in my opinion. But I think everyone's overstating it. There's a lot of talent still in this squad. And I think this manager will improve a lot of players that are here. No doubt in my mind.
Definitely, I agree.
Gary, my old mate. A quick question for you. Gabriel Jesus to Chelsea. Would you be happy with that deal?
You know what? I always believe in the end of the day, it shouldn't be a thing of Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea needs a traditional number 9 because we've tried that so many times now and it doesn't work. In the end of the day, we're still trying to replace Diego Costa. Since he left, we haven't been the same. So I think maybe in the end of the day, when it comes to Thomas Tuchel's system, you don't need a number 9. I think you actually need kind of like a false 9. So I would actually say Jesus would actually be quite a decent signing.
A lot of people agree. A lot of people disagree. I just wanted to get your take on that, Gary, my old mate. Listen, thank you very much for coming on, mate, and having your say this morning. Top man. We'll speak soon. Cheers, Gary. Thank you. You can call in now to have your say, people. The lines are open. The only fan channel that lets you phone in almost every single day. Imagine I'd sometimes love to see some of the other channels do it. Take challenge. Go for it. I'd love to see it. So one guy I'm good friends with, he did it once. He messaged me after. He's like, bro, I ain't doing that again. He went, they just cooked me for an hour. It's hard, bro. It's a hard thing to do. But please hit the like button, my friends, right about now. Facebook, wow, 392 on Facebook, 222 on YouTube. We are catching you on YouTube, Facebook. We are coming for you. We are coming for you. Terry Tamcredi Palmari tweeted that Kane to Bayern. Yeah, I saw that tweet. I'm going to look into it a little bit later. If we start coming second and third to season after each other, we will win the league. I get what you're saying, like progression in that regard. I hear you. We will see. Terry, are there any updates on Rice, Sagara to Chelsea? As far as I've seen, there's nothing new on those deals. Loose links to Sagaria. Is it pronounced Sagaria? Nothing substantial in the Declan Rice situation at all. Chelsea, of course, admire him. Chelsea, of course, would like him. But 120 million pounds is the asking price. And as it stands right now, that's too eye-watering for anybody. West Ham are pricing him out of a move. Simple and as straightforward as that. I agree with that take. Sancho's best position is probably a 10. The problem is Puno. Listen, again, Bruno's another one of these players. Give him some time under Ten Hag, and I think people are going to love him again. I just do. And by the way, there'll be a shock player. I don't think anyone would be shocked if Bruno starts scoring and performing under Ten Hag again. But I do think there'll be a shock. Whether it's Maguire, whether it's Shaw, whether it's Delo, whether it's Fred McTominay, there'll be a player that everybody, I want him gone, or he ain't good enough, who just suddenly comes alive. It nearly always happens. The Rashfords and the Brunos and the Donnies and the Varans that we know are very good players, to world-class players, some of them, we kind of know they're going to come good again, or you hope they're going to come good again, but we shall see. Sagare, there we go. Thank you, KJ, for helping me out there, my friend. Sagare. There's a song in there somewhere in my head, but I'm trying to work it out. Reece James ID better than Trent. Okay, cheers for that, Nels. Cheers for that, Nels. Thank you very much. Oi, the green ticks, baby. Listen, I said it yesterday. It's funny, really, because I got called out yesterday by a big Chelsea account. Stop saying deals are on and putting green ticks. I mean, I literally write the word it's on. I don't say it's done. To all transfers. And I'm sort of like, the only time the news is what I call to the terrace is when I just tweet about it myself. So if I say Gabriel Jesus to Chelsea on with a green tick, that's because through my research and people I've spoken to, they've said this deal is an active deal that Chelsea have started to look at. That's it. If I put the green tick in a tweet where I'm also quoting the source, it's very different. However, let me just say this now very quickly. I will tweet how I want, when I want, to whom I want, with any language or emoji that I want. I don't really do online beef because I'm too busy trying to make my life a success for my children to worry about the mind of others. But what I will start saying is this. If you don't like me, like the content we make at the terrace, like how I tweet, what I do, go away. Like, you are absolutely embarrassing yourself, your family name, well, not the ones that don't actually show their name. You're embarrassing yourself by calling out other people. Oh, I don't like that you've done this. I don't like that you're doing that. I don't like how you word this. I don't like how you say that. Why are you watching? You know, we're not talking about emotive subjects. We're not speaking about war or famine or politics. It's football, bruv. Relax your brain and move on. It isn't my fault that you're not successful or not as successful as you want to be, and you are picking upon people that you perceive to be more successful than you are. It's crazy. And you know why I know that's what people do? Because I spent time in my younger years doing that. That's what I focused on. Oh, I'm not getting those opportunities. I'm not getting as many views. I'm not getting this. I watch what my competitors do now and what other people do purely for inspiration. Oh, that's great. I'm going to try something like that. Oh, I love that. Maybe we could do so. Well, we're launching something new for watch-alongs next year, a style of watch-along that nobody else is doing. It's a watch-along, but it's a different type. I'm not even going to give you anything more than that. It's going to be so fun, though. Why? Because I'm inspired by things other people do. You know, But there's a lot of whining and whinging and bitching, and a lot of that comes from people that are just unhappy in themselves. So my message to them is, don't message me, don't give me any crap. All you can do now is get blocked. No more interactions on it. None. Go stare in the mirror, go sort your lives out. Simple as that. Green ticks, baby. Stick the green ticks in. Green ticks all day. I'm going to put a fucking green tick on every tweet today. And honestly, listen, I don't also think being verified makes me any more special than anyone else. It's why I open up the phone lines every day on the terrace pretty much to let you guys speak, because my opinion doesn't matter more than yours. It doesn't. I got the blue tick because of the work I'm doing. It's great. It's there. I don't think I know more about football than people without one. But what I have noticed is it's made some people very... I've been sent some screenshots from some group chats. Some prominent YouTubers as well. Oh, why'd he get one and I haven't? I don't fucking know. It's not my fault. Babies. Some of these people are grown men with kids as well. Just work hard, man. Work hard. Just work hard and you'll make it. If you're not working hard enough, that's the only reason you're not where you want to be. Or you're not talented enough. And if you're not talented enough at the thing you're working hard at, change jobs. Literally, bruv. I've changed career 3 times in my life, 3 different areas, each time to get to the next level in my life. You know what I mean? Maybe this ain't for you. Maybe this ain't for you. Anyway, I digress massively. Let's have a look at some of your comments here. Terry, have you taken a look at... Oh, take a look at Simon Phillips's account as he tweeted. Hang on. What has he said here? Chelsea are interested in Yuri Tillemans. Oi, oi! We'll talk about that a little bit later. Comment here. Okay, so Adam Newson. I hadn't seen this so far today. It says some good news here. Adam Newson says that Sagaria is a Rice alternative. Wow. Rice remains a Chelsea target, though. I'll have a little read up about that later. We'll get some proper content made for you a little bit later on today and kind of put that out for you. But we want to do it properly. Do you know what I mean? We want to do it properly out there. Some of you make me laugh. Imagine Arsenal Twitter if Lee Gunner got a tick. Mate, do you know what's really winding up Arsenal Twitter right now? Because I know they go and watch it because he shows me the analytics. Or he showed me the analytics behind these like stories. When he's sitting on, when he sits there and makes two or three videos a day in the morning for transfers, and then sits on the beach for 8 hours getting a tan, eating with his beautiful girlfriend, and then he comes home at night and they hate it. Do you know one of the reasons why Lee Gunner gets hate? Now, a lot of gooners will say he's profiting off of failure. He's nasty. He supports Spurs. Now, do you know what they're actually? Do you know what 99.9, which is a lie? Do you know what the prominent gooners that push hate against him don't like? They hate that he literally makes 3 times as much money as they do talking about Arsenal, if they make any money at all. And this is his full-time job, and he lives the life of Riley. They're getting up and busting their ass off for 40, 50 hours a week, commuting, grey, cloudy, rainy England. They're angry that Lee Gunner has made a success of himself. But instead of saying, I'm jealous of you, they try to, like, put him down. And look, he's made some mistakes I've called out online, things he's apologized for in his past. And, you know, he's moving on from that as a person, and he's doing it. But that's why people want him gone. If Lee Gunner was Lee Gunner, but he was still a double glazement salesman, living at home with his mum, right? Not a success, they wouldn't care about his opinions. It's only because he's successful. Oh, I'm not successful as you. We have it on the terrace. There's people that have been on the terrace that start doing well in their own right, on their own channels. And then suddenly their own fan bases, as in the base they support, turn against them. Turn against them. There we go. Anyway. Terry, Tottenham are talking to De Jong. Are they? Spurs, De Jong. Do it. They're in Champions League. Let me have a little butchers of that. Where'd you get that news from, my G? Let me give that a little search up. Is that true? Spurs. I've seen the Prem Insider is... No, that's not from the Prem Insider, is it? I swear the Prem Insider is... KJ, is that who I think it is? If that's come from the Prem Insider, that's an... Oh, hang on. No. I saw a link here from the Last Word on Spurs. Brilliant platform. It says, it's Nigel De Jong. There's a link from 2 years ago as well. I can't see any links. Right now. I can't see any. I can't see any links, Johnny boy. Oh, Johnny boy. So thank you for the super chat, my friend. Thank you. Terry is a down to PSG. Listen, I did a video back in February, the same day I went to get the hair transplant done, all about Poch being sacked. And he was told he's going to be sacked. He was told you've got a stay of execution, but at the end of the season, we're sacking you. It just isn't news that Poch is getting sacked and Zidane's coming in. This is old. It just was always going to be done in the summer. I'm loving how people are like, he was sacked months ago. He was told, bruv, you're going to play, you're going to finish the season, but you're gone, G. Do you know what I mean? It's like those parents that break up and it's like, listen, we're going to get through the holidays, the Christmas holidays, and then we're ending it. They're already over, though. Same thing, but people are like, oh, unless I see it on the yellow ticker on Sky, it's not actually happened. Bruv, so basic out here. Terry, you are the most natural football fan I watch. Great content and honest with your opinions. Keep up the good work. Pay no attention to haters. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate the compliment, and I won't pay any attention to them. Do you know why? Because the people in my life that are important, like me, it's crazy as well, because I was having this conversation with someone yesterday, and I used to think I was weird, but I've realized I'm actually like most people. I just admit it. Like, I don't like very many people. Like, I respect all of you, but I don't know any of you personally. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know you. I'm talking about people I know and meet. And I'm like, I probably like about 20 to 25 people in my life that I've met and know that I like you. The rest I just put up with. And I actually think most people are like that. And I've just got to an age where, if you're someone that isn't involved in my life, you don't impact how I earn my money, which essentially I only care about money because it feeds my kids. If you don't impact those two areas, I don't care. If you start lying about me, different thing, different energy. But yeah, just do your thing, man. If you don't know what I do, block me, my G. Block me. But it's weird that you want to follow me just to hate. Zidane is bald. This is a fact. He does have no hair. KJ is Beetlejuice's love child with a pifting. What? Mr. Flewis, how are you today? What's happening in the world of football? Original base Annie, I hope you're well, my friend. Lots going on. The transfer window, of course, has officially opened, although the work's been being done for months by a lot of teams. But there we go. Amit is going to come on the show now and have his say with us on the terrace. Amit Power, what you saying, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm very, very well. What's on your mind?
I've been watching you since Lukaku to United. So, like, when we're talking about Morata to United, Lukaku to Chelsea, right?
Yeah.
I agree with what you say about United, right? Now, you've talked a lot about United philosophy players. So, basically, buying players for the club, right?
Yeah. What's that noise in the background? Is it a radio on or something?
Sorry, 1 second. Let me just 1 second. Sorry about that. Yeah. So, like I was saying, you've talked a lot about that now, but since De Jong rumors, I was very skeptical about it because I just thought, okay, yeah, it's the whole Ten Hag link, and I thought, okay, we're getting De Jong for Ten Hag, so it's going back into the same situation of buying players for the manager. And then since then we've had obviously Timber, Nunes, and all three of them you've said, oh, United are buying this for Ten Hag. So isn't that going back on what you were saying in getting them for the United?
It's very, very great challenge there. And yes, on the surface, the only way that reigns true is if, and you never know this until after the fact, and it's what we've got hope. Let's say Erik ten Hag does 5 years. What we have to hope is that the next manager isn't a complete change of philosophy. So I don't mind us buying for Ten Hag as long as what we're trying to do is take what Ten Hag is doing as a manager and you instill that as the club's philosophy. Meaning, when Erik ten Hag goes, it will happen at some point, successful or unsuccessful, that you don't have a complete overhaul of every element of the club, players, transfer policy, scouting routes, because you're still looking for the same type of football player. That's kind of what I mean. Now, you can use a manager as the base and go, right, we're going to use this to build, like Liverpool kind of did with Jurgen Klopp. Well, they kind of did it with Brendan Rodgers, really, and then Klopp took it to that next level. It was an evolution of the same philosophy. Does that make sense? What you can't is go from Ten Hag to Diego Simeone to Mauricio Pochettino to Jose Mourinho, because I think what ends up happening if you do that is that you create this situation we've got now where you have this almost cocktail of a squad that's built, that's got 5 players for this style and 6 players for that style and 8 players for another, and it makes it hard to create something harmonious. So that's kind of what I mean. So in the short term, let's buy for Ten Hag. It's absolutely fine, but we need to make sure that we don't go in a completely different direction should Ten Hag leave, if that makes sense.
Back a couple of months back, there was always talks about the guy from Liverpool who was leaving, Edwards.
Michael Edwards, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, someone like that, even like Dan Ashworth, I remember, I think he was at Brighton when they got Potter. I think he was at Brighton, because I remember him talking about it, and he was saying someone like United need to follow the similar philosophy as Brighton did, because as soon as they get a new manager in, they're looking for the next guy who's using the similar philosophy. And he was talking about that, and he's saying if pound for pound, he was saying Brighton at that point when they got Potter won a different level in terms of how they run.
Mate, I tweeted myself in the season, pound for pound, the best run club in the country is Brighton, in my opinion. Because they and I listened to Dan Ashworth talk, and he said I think the under 9s are their youngest year of footballers. Their under 9 boys and girls play the same style of football as the adult men and women get the game. When they loan a female player out to a club, it has to be to a club that has it's never going to be identical, but has a similar philosophy and style of play. That way, if a player goes out on loan for a year and comes back, they're not being. It's like Man United have done it where we're trying to play Jose style, but we'll loan a player out to a more progressive tiki-taka style. Why? How's that going to help the player when he comes back to Man United? It doesn't make sense. There's no plan of action. So for me, I'm not against buying people for Ten Hag as long as the Ten Hag way.
I agree with that, but I wouldn't necessarily say take it off the table. So, for example, now you've got someone like a Savage's son, or you've got Zidane Iqbal, someone like that. Now, if Norwich or someone want to take him, or someone else like Birmingham City, I do security at Birmingham City, so I'll be watching Chong and Mengi. Mengi's on another level. He was from January onwards. They love him.
Mate, listen, and again, I don't know the philosophy and style of football at all football clubs, and it's not for fans to know this. It's about the club knowing that we're going to loan a player out to a team playing the right way that's going to help him be integrated back into our team. I agree. Amit Powell, thank you very much for coming on, mate, and having your say. We'll speak again soon, my brother. Top man. Thank you. Viewers, please make sure like buttons are being smashed this morning. Guna here says, Terry, I'm all for banter between clubs, but I really like Man United, Gunners and Arsenal to step up so we can take points off Liverpool and Man City. I don't want the Prem turning into the German league. I hear you on that. I understand where you're coming from, and that does make a fair amount of sense. I feel kind of similar to that. Hunt here with a super chat says, the people saying Jesus is a City reject are the same ones that said that Giroud was an Arsenal reject and he became a success at Chelsea. Absolutely. And I wouldn't be drawn into that kind of debate. He's not a reject. He just wants something different. City would keep him. I think City have offered him a new deal at some point fairly recently. And, the reject, he scored goals, won Premier Leagues. Yeah, I wouldn't call him a reject, but banter is banter. Stamford Bridge rebuild. I think John's referring to what a previous caller said. I think that Chelsea need a rebuild. I think it's slightly overstated. I really do. 3 or 4 players in, 3 or 4 players out. That's most summers for most clubs. We can't call everything a rebuild all the time. Terry, you are on here every day saying the deal is done, but it ain't done, my brother. I've never said this deal was done. If a media outlet says it's done, we'll share the source, and we will do something like this, Jade Stone. What we would do is we would go, I can't find a done deal, but say this was a done deal. It would be like, we would show you the tweet, show you the source, and say, they're claiming this. What do you think? That isn't us saying the deal's done, is it? And now I think you know that, you silly sausage. But thank you for the comment anyway. But you are, what's the word? Beyond wrong. Jesus, 1 goal contribution per 90 minutes elite. That's pretty good, isn't it? If you 1 goal contribution per game, if you play 50 games, it's a lot. But there we go. Someone here saying Terry Nunes news just now. That doesn't mean my guy. Do you know what you need to do for me? You need to set. That doesn't make any sense. You got to send me who and what. People do this. Go, have you seen the news? Just tell me where it is, and I'll go and look. I don't see it all. Abdul here says, I disagree. Chelsea need to strengthen 10 positions, either starting or backup. No, I disagree with that. I think if they brought in 4 quality signings this summer and moved 4 players out that aren't quite right, with Tuchel, you'd see an overall elevation. They're not that far behind. I think it's overstated. When you add quality, and I'll give you an example. You're a Barca fan. Pedro. Look how good Pedro looked in a Barca team compared to when he was at Chelsea. When he went to a team that had lesser quality, he didn't look as good. You increase the overall quality of Chelsea, and the lesser players jump up a gear. It's just football. It's how it works. Do you know what I mean? You had it at Barca. You had Xavi that was amazing. Xavi made Iniesta look world class. It's a joke. Relax. But yeah, I don't think they need 10 to be sort of competitive, because they're pretty competitive without the 10. So yeah, I don't think it's as big a jump as people are saying. But there we go. Listen, everyone that's tuned in, a big thank you to each and every single one of you. It means a great deal to us here on the Terrace. We'll be back today. More transfer news coming. Frenkie de Jong, of course, the update has now come out, but we will be looking at the situations with Nunes today. We've got some Chelsea updates, big Chelsea updates to come. We're looking into Arsenal and a few others. Make sure you stay with the Terrace. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Thank you. Peace.